Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the awards contender. I am very excited to give you my review of One Battle After Another, which was everything I hoped it would be and more. This is a masterpiece for the ages, one of the very best Paul Thomas Anderson films ever made. Oh my god. Oh my god, did I love every minute of this film. 2 hours and 40 minutes long. It just flies by. It's so exciting. It's so confidently directed. It's so suspenseful, has so much tension, unpredictable. The performances in this film are extraordinary, not just from one or two people, the entire ensemble cast. It is just an abundance of riches, this movie. And this is a no spoiler review. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. It's pretty great. This is a no spoiler review. I'll talk a little bit about the beginning, the setup and stuff. To be honest, I was a little nervous walking in because my expectations were so sky high. Many people I trust were giving it a 10 out of 10 and saying it was like the movie of the year, and I was like, I don't know, man. If this film is just like an 8 out of 10, I'm going to walk out disappointed, And it's not like Paul Thomas Anderson has succeeded every time out. There are two of his films I don't much care for. I will talk about those in my next video, which is a ranking video of all of the movies he has directed going back to 1997, so look out for that. But today I am talking all about One Battle After Another, which is, you guys, probably, 99% I'll say. It's only September, there are still some big films coming, and who knows? But I'm 99% sure this is going to be the best movie of 2025. I mean, I was halfway through that film and I was like, oh my freaking god, this is just so good. I was so into this movie, vibing with it every step of the way, and I got to see it on an IMAX screen where the image was ceiling to floor. I have seen some movies at my local IMAX where it has the black bars and it's not a fully IMAX experience, where you're watching it in the biggest screen in my town, but it doesn't really feel like IMAX. One battle after another, the image stretched the whole way, and I was pretty close to the screen, so I mean, it was an awesome experience, let me tell you. And I am so thankful I stayed away from spoilers the last few weeks, the last few months. I saw a couple trailers. I haven't read a single review. I saw some things on Twitter, like a couple things popped up in the last 2 weeks where I went, oh, I don't want to know about that and stuff. Almost all of this film had not been ruined for me. I was delighted by all of the surprises in the narrative, the third act. I had no idea what was going to happen. Even when you think the movie's over, there's more. You're what? What's happening now? Holy shit. Paul Thomas Anderson is one of those directors you can put all of your faith in. In the first scene of One Battle After Another, you are in very good hands. There's a vision here. There's ideas, a purpose to this story. The characterizations from the get-go are so clear, so focused and interesting, and you are just swept up in this story from minute one. So at the very beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a group of revolutionaries, including Perfidia, played by Teyana Taylor, who starts the film. We follow her as this far-left revolutionary group, the Friends 75, goes on to rescue immigrants at a detention center in California. Leonardo DiCaprio is also part of that group. He is in a relationship with Perfidia, and he is there doing everything he can to pull off this mission. At the detention center, Perfidia runs into this commanding officer, Captain Stephen Lockjaw, played by Sean Penn. She makes fun of him, humiliates him, and he's kind of into it, surprisingly enough. You come to find out he has a thing for black women and becomes sexually obsessed with her. He catches her in the act at one point, and because he's into her, he basically blackmails her to have all of these sexual experiences with him so that she doesn't have to go to jail. Her relationship with DiCaprio's character continues on, they're still very sexual as well, and then she gets pregnant, she has a baby, and she doesn't see herself as a mother, doesn't want to be a part of a family unit, so she basically takes off and leaves him there with the little one, and they are going to do everything they can to survive. Some more things happen with Perfidia, which I won't go through here, but then 16 years pass, and we catch up with the characters. They are now called Willa and Bob, not the characters they are introduced with earlier in the film. And DiCaprio, now as a much older Bob ex-revolutionary, he's like, he doesn't have much of a life. He just like lays around his house, his very small house in a sanctuary city, like getting high and, you know, hanging out on his couch in his bathrobe. His daughter Willa, played by Chase Infinity, a newcomer, who is amazing in this film, I just have to say. She does not really look up to her father, but she doesn't have much of a choice, right? To leave until she's 18. She has become a revolutionary in her own regard, like her mother, who she thinks is dead, she thinks was murdered, and she wants to emulate the spirit of her mom in every way she can. And then the film really kicks into high gear when we are reintroduced to Lockjaw 16 years later. He is very ambitious. He's a colonel now. He wants to be like a member of this very elite white supremacist group. And when there is suspicion from some of those members that Lockjaw had an interracial relationship, might have birthed a mixed-race child, Lockjaw takes it upon himself to hunt down both Bob and Willa and potentially dispose of both of them. That's all I'm going to say about the plot. That's like the first 30 minutes of this 2-hour, 40-minute film. Like, the less you know about this one, the better. Just know that this narrative is never wandering, you know? It's not like we're just going to here and there and there's no purpose in this plot. Like, this is one of the most propulsive narratives Paul Thomas Anderson has ever taken upon himself. His movies are not normally like super exciting or action-packed. Like, as great as many of his movies are, they're often very quiet, they take their time, lots of long scenes of dialogue as you learn more and more things about the characters, and there's some elements of that in One Battle After Another, but I do think, you know, he's made 10 films now. This might be his most accessible film for just like a casual moviegoer. I mean, obviously you have Leonardo DiCaprio in the lead role, and everybody really loves him. He's been in so many great films. So I think DiCaprio draws in the casual moviegoer. And for those people out there who aren't familiar with the name Paul Thomas Anderson, like wouldn't know who that was, maybe have seen a couple of his films, but not more than 2 or 3, if they go into this film not knowing anything about the director, it's not going to matter. They are going to have an amazing time anyway. This film is so exciting, so tense every step of the way, and what I really loved about it was that in the midst of all of this tension and suspense, it's also very funny. This film is frickin' hilarious. I must have laughed out loud 20 to 30 times. The way One Battle After Another blends the drama and the comedy all throughout this narrative, I mean, it is a masterclass. I mean, there are some moments that are so tense, especially a key car chase, where you like can barely even breathe. It's so tense. You have moments like that in this film, and then you also have scenes like DiCaprio on the phone trying to get information about like where his daughter is, and it's so hilarious like how the scene plays out, DiCaprio's performance, the voice on the other end, and it just goes on and on and on, and he is just losing his mind. There are moments in this film that are so funny, and I do think that was necessary for One Battle After Another. If there had been zero humor in this film, like after like the 2-hour mark, it would have been too much. Anderson knows, like in a story this suspenseful, like this exciting and action-packed, there also needs to be some levity, you know, in the movie. The mood, the tone, it can't just always be deadly serious. So that's an element of this movie I thought was really outstanding. I really enjoyed how modern this story was, especially from Anderson. Like on my drive home from the theater, I was like, what's the last film he made that was set like during the current times? And it's Punch Drunk Love, 2002. Everything he's directed since '02 has been a period film, right? There Will Be Blood, The Master, Inherent Vice, Phantom Thread, and Licorice Pizza are all period films. So that was a thrill as well, seeing Anderson play in an arena he hadn't really visited in the world of cinema in like more than 2 decades. And boy, does he knock it out of the park, like really capturing like the current time, like some of the tensions we're living through at the current moment. One Battle After Another is definitely a film for 2025. I don't think it would have been as powerful if it had been made even 10 to 15 years ago. There's something about like the time we're living through at the moment and the way this narrative explores so many contemporary themes while at the same time remaining a very entertaining film for audiences. That's also really great. On a crafts level, this film is astounding to watch, especially on a giant screen. Like, the cinematography of this film is definitely getting in at the Oscars. The film editing, the sound design, the original score by Johnny Greenwood, that is a character in this film, like just as much as all of the people in it. There's almost always a score happening in the background, only like maybe 3 or 4 moments, like doesn't have any music. And in some films that might have been overkill, it might have been like, okay, Paul, let's just let a scene play out without any score behind it. But the way the score informs the narrative, like every beat in this story as it goes forward to that incredible third act, the score is exceptional in this and is definitely coming for an Oscar nomination. And again, that glorious cinematography by Michael Bauman, I mean, just wow. The way he utilizes the full frame throughout the film, the way the camera moves, there are some shots in this that took my breath away. I mean, there's just one moment near the end, I won't give anything away, where 2 people are standing talking to each other. The camera is very far away, and you really see like this desert landscape all the way to the sky. I was like, freaking wow. I was like, whoa. You know, another director would have just had like, over the shoulder as the 2 men talk. But no, Anderson pulls back and you really get to see the setting of this film and that car chase. I mean, there's more than one great car chase in this, but one later in the film, like the way it's shot, I mean, you're almost like you're on a roller coaster ride at a theme park, the way it's shot. I was like, wow, Anderson, you are going so hard on this scene, and I am loving every second of it. The editing by Andy Jurgensen is incredible. Like, you never feel the length in this. It just flies by. There was never a moment where I was like, oh, okay, this scene's going on too long. There's a lull here. Like, when this film ended, you guys, I am serious. I was like, that was almost 3 hours? Like, no way. I could have watched the whole movie again. It could have been another hour plus and I would have been happy for it. This film does not feel its length. I don't know about you, but that's often the sign of a really great film when it's long and you don't feel the length. The film just moves really well all the way to its unpredictable final 30 minutes or whatever it is. That's when I know I'm watching something really special. And let me tell you, one battle after another, in the year of film that is 2025, when we look back, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this is going to be one of the key films of this era. There have been many great movies I've enjoyed this year, like I went to Sundance, I went to Toronto, and obviously there's going to be some other films I talk about a lot in the months to come, like Hamnet, which is incredible. One battle after another, it's just like in a league of its own. Just in every respect. And a big part of that is this cast, is the performances. Holy frickin' cow. I mean, we are getting the best casting Oscar for the very first time early next year. I think One Battle After Another is likely going to win, because this is one of the most impressive ensembles I have seen in a film in a long time. Casting director Cassandra Koulakundis really outdid herself on this film. Not just with like the main 5 or 6 cast members, like the ones who have like the real meaty roles. Everybody in this film, all the way down to some of these actors who have like 1 or 2 lines. Someone who says 1 or 2 things and then is shot dead. Everyone in this film has been so meticulously cast in every respect. I worked in casting for 2 years. I know what a hard discipline that is. To find the right people for every single character in your film, especially one that runs almost 3 hours long. She really did an amazing job on this. I hope she wins the Oscar in a few months. I mean, who do I begin with? There's so many great people and performances to talk about here. I guess we'll start with the big one, right? Leonardo DiCaprio, who just gives one of his very best performances in this. Something that even elevated this movie slightly is that before I saw One Battle After Another, I spent 3 days immersed in everything DiCaprio for my brand new video all about his Oscar win for The Revenant. About 10 minutes of that video I go into his history, his career, all of his Oscar nominations. So I was thinking about, reflecting on everything DiCaprio. I finished the video, and then I went to go see One Battle After Another, and I was just so delighted by everything he got to do in this film. This is not like a middle-of-the-road DiCaprio performance. This is one of his best. Partly because his character of Bob doesn't have all the answers. When the film begins, he's very strong and commanding, but once we go ahead 16 years in the future, You know, he doesn't have a lot going on, and let's be honest, he's pretty pathetic. Even in the second half, when he's trying to locate his daughter, he will do anything in his power to get her home, get her safe, right? And even through all of that, he doesn't make the best decisions. There's one point where he falls off of a building, I'll just say that, where I was like, oh my god, what? Like, this is not like the character he played in The Revenant. This is not the character he played in The Wolf of Wall Street. This is someone who has really lost his mojo, his purpose, who all he really has in life is his daughter and his love for her. And so his incompetence in the second half makes the character all the more memorable. Like his look, his clothes. I haven't mentioned the costume design work in this by Colleen Atwood. That's also very good. I know it's a modern film and these kind of movies don't often get into costume design, but I think One Battle After Another has a shot, especially like the costume decision with the DiCaprio character, what he wears for most of the second half. I mean, it's just so perfect as he's just going out of his mind, like doing everything he can to find his daughter. This is a fully realized DiCaprio performance in every way. He gets to be hilarious, he gets to be emotional, there's action moments, physical moments here. We get to see him age like 16 years, and that was actually pretty believable. I was surprised. I was like, okay, 16 years for an actor? Obviously, they're not going to give him a bunch of prosthetics and stuff. But just like the way he carries himself in the second half, and like it made sense to me that a long time had passed, so that worked well too. DiCaprio is absolutely coming for an Oscar nomination and Best Actor. Can he win? I don't know. Like, maybe. Like he's going to be in the top 2 or 3, I think. I mean, he's won before for The Revenant, but it has been a decade. And if One Battle After Another, as I'll talk about in my little Oscar section at the very end here, like if this movie wins picture, director, and adapted screenplay, DiCaprio is going to be in a very good place. Teyana Taylor is excellent in this. She's not in as much of it as I hoped for, I'll just say that. But she does have a character, even though she's not in a ton of the film. She really does cast a shadow over the entire narrative all the way to its end. And so it's kind of the Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter situation where even though he's not in a lot of that movie, you are thinking about him all of the time. It's the same thing in One Battle After Another. It's not about the screen time for Taylor in this. Her character hangs over the narrative every step of the way. So she makes a big impression. I think she is so talented. Regina Hall has been putting in such good work year after year. This is one of her best performances. It's kind of a quiet performance, but boy, does she have some powerful moments toward the end. One where she's being interrogated, one scene in a bathroom where she talks to Willa, that's like really well done. I was taken with Regina Hall in this film. I think she is extraordinary. And speaking of Willa, played by Chase Infinity, like I don't think I've seen her in anything. I don't know if this is her debut, but it's like one of the first big things she's ever done. And boy, is she a force of nature in this movie. What an impeccable performance from a younger actress. She totally holds her own on the screen with some acting titans who have been around for decades, right? Like, she is one of the most memorable elements of this. Her performance, her character really sticks with you long after you've left the theater. Supporting actress is going to be a tricky category when it comes to this movie because you do have 3 performances here that all have a shot really to get in. I think if it's just one, like from this movie and supporting actress, like once we get to the Oscars, I think it's Chase Infinity. I think she has like the most screen time in the film. You really feel for her, you empathize with her, and in many ways, like more than any other character in this film, including DiCaprio's character of Bob, like Willa is the heart and soul of the entire film. So I do think Chase Infinity, even though she's very young and new, I think of all 3 of these talented women who will be battling it out in a sense for supporting actress, Chase Infinity is the one who will make it at the end. And then you have Benicio del Toro, who is so funny in this, so original and fresh, like his take on his character and everything that happens in the second half with him, it's really great. I think it's cool that del Toro worked with both Andersons this year and gave 2 of his best performances. Earlier this year, he worked with Wes Anderson on The Phoenician Scheme, and he is hilarious in that movie. He's so good in that film. And then he works with Paul Thomas Anderson and gives a similarly very creative and funny performance in this. It's not the kind of role that's going to get an Oscar nomination. I don't think Del Toro is going to get in for this, but he's wonderful to watch in this movie and adds a lot to the narrative. Now, am I forgetting anyone? Is there anyone I haven't talked about? Oh, right, Sean Penn. If I had to choose the MVP of One Battle After Another, it is Sean Penn. Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God. I was watching this movie like, holy shit, we have not had a performance from Sean Penn quite like this one in a long time. Like, I would say in the last 15 years, like, I've maybe seen him in certain things. Like, he's briefly in Licorice Pizza, also by Paul Thomas Anderson, and I've seen him in some movies and things, but, like, he has not been this good for at least 17, 18 years, I would say. His performance as Colonel Stephen Lockjaw in this film is one for the ages. He is so memorable, so dark and wicked and eerie at times. He's also very funny, like unexpectedly, I would say, even though he's the villain of the film. There are moments where you understand like where he's coming from. You understand his point of view on the situation, why he wants what he wants. And it's just one of the most fully realized characters and performances I have seen in years. Not just this year, 2025, in the last few years. He just embodies this guy to the nth degree, to like by the end, you're just like, oh my God, like what else can this man do? What can possibly take him down? I mean, his final couple moments in this film, I will never forget. Like, it's just a wow performance. Now, Penn is obviously coming for his next Oscar nomination. It'll be in Best Supporting Actor. Can he win? Like maybe. It's that good, that strong of a performance. If he hadn't already won 2 Oscars before, if let's say he had only won a single prize, like for Mystic River only, and it had been over 20 years, and he gives a performance like this one, I think he could maybe win. Even over Stellan Skarsgård in Sentimental Value, which is still my choice for the victory as of this moment. Because Penn has already won twice, that's where I think it could be tricky. But it could be like the Daniel Day-Lewis Lincoln situation, where it's like, he's so dynamic, so original, so incredible in One Battle After Another, we might just have to give Sean Penn a 3rd Academy Award. When it comes to the Oscars conversation surrounding One Battle After Another, I do think it can win Picture and Director. I think part of it will be like the box office. Let's see how the movie does over the next few weeks. Let's see like how things are going in November, December. We still have some more movies to go, right? And there's one coming out Christmas Day I definitely have my eye on. I'm sure many of you do as well. Marty Supreme, starring Timothée Chalamet. We'll have to see how that film shakes out. But One Battle After Another, I think can do it. No matter what happens, it's definitely coming for a boatload of Oscar nominations. As of this moment, at the end of September, I think One Battle After Another is coming for 11 Oscar nominations, maybe even 12. The sure things I have right now are Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Casting, Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, Best Original Score, and Best Sound. And then maybe Best Costume Design too. Costume design is also on the table. That would make for 12. The reason I think One Battle After Another can go all the way, win Best Picture, Best Director, is that Paul Thomas Anderson is going to have an overdue narrative. I mean, how many Oscar nominations does he have to date without a win? Isn't it like 11? Isn't he at like 11 Oscar nominations? Almost every film he makes, he gets nominated for something. Sometimes it's just the screenplay. Sometimes it's screenplay and director and picture, right? So he's at like 11, and he's going to be nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, for Best Director, Best Picture. He's one of the producers as well. So like that would be 14. He'd be at 14. You're telling me he's gonna go home empty-handed? I mean, sure, you could say, well, they might give him, let's say, adapted screenplay, but then they give Best Director and Best Picture to something else. You know, like Hamnet is definitely going to be in the conversation. Right now, I do think Hamnet is the closest competitor to One Battle After Another. That's a very different kind of film. I've already had people reach out and say, well, which one do you like better? You know, they're so different, guys. One makes you cry, like hysterically in the last 30 minutes, and One Battle After Another did not make me cry once. I got a little emotional toward the end. It doesn't make you cry. It's just a brilliant film on so many levels, made on an epic scale, unlike very few films are made nowadays. They're very different. I love them both. I just think, like, even if it's close, One Battle After Another can pull it off. I do think that's probably going to win Picture and Director at the 98th Academy Awards, and I will love to see it. So that's my review of One Battle After Another. I loved this film with my full heart. It's probably very likely going to be my favorite film of 2025. I can't imagine anything between now and December like toppling it. That would very much surprise me. Paul Thomas Anderson is one of the master filmmakers of his generation, one of the very best directors working right now. Every film he makes is a reason to celebrate, it's an event, and it's almost always a masterpiece. One Battle After Another is another PTA masterpiece of the highest order. I give this film one of my easiest ever 10 out of 10s in my life. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below, what did you think of One Battle After Another, and how many Oscar nominations do you think it's going to receive next year? I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.